Yo, 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 this is your boy, MC Asian Persuasion, come at you. And I got to talk about something that's real. Like, how are you, motherfuckers in the audience? You father fuckers and your kid fuckers out there, too. Give a shout out for you, too. By a show of hands, how many of you are kid fuckers? Oh, I see we have some Vancouver clergy out there. Yeah, you know when tranny was not a loaded word? Like, you could say tranny, and the worst thing would happen is you'd get a couple hugs. Like, you'd say, the tranny in the back of my Ford is fucked. And transmissions are expensive, so people would realize that and they'd hug you to death. But if you say, I fucked the tranny in the back of my Ford, you're not going to get any hugs. Maybe you'll get a hug from the tranny you fucked, but you're most likely to offend somebody. Seems like our prime minister's back in the news. He's in hot water because he was dressed in blackface when he went to a party. I don't really see what the big fuss is about, We used to have a really slutty neighbor who invited black men to her house all the time. She was always dressed in blackface, or maybe she was giving face to black men. I don't know the difference. I'm a kid. Vaping is also in the news, isn't it? Like, people are killing themselves vaping. I don't see the fascination with filling your lungs full of smoke, unless you're a fireman and you get paid to do that. Like, I had a fire in my kitchen the other day and the room was full of smoke. I could have used some of those vapors to vape the shit out of that. Now, I know murders are not, there's nothing funny about murders. Like, these massacres that are happening, they're really disgusting, right? But I mean, if you look real hard, you can still find some humor. For example, the El Paso killer, he said that he drove thousands of miles so he wouldn't bring attention to his hometown or his family. Well, this just tells me two things. One, murdering white supremacists have a conscience. And two, murdering white supremacists are not at the top of our gene pool. Because by killing 20 plus people, not only do we know his name, his family's name, his favorite dog's name, his home theater's name, his home restaurant's name, we know all the names. Now, people look at me and they say, are you native? And I'm getting tired of this shit, man. Like, fuck them. I'm Chinese. That's why my name is Asian Persuasion. But I decided to play along. And I said, yeah, I'm from the Fagawi tribe. And they go, the Fagawi tribe? What's that? I go, you haven't heard of the Fagawi tribe? Where you been? Sleeping under a rock? When my ancestors came to Canada, they got lost in all the snow, right? And after wandering for hours and hours, one of them said, we're the Fagawi. And the other answered, I don't know, but this looks like a good place to put our settlement. And that's what we're going to name our tribe. Now, I don't know if this story is entirely true because my dad told it to me when he was on crack. Yeah, he didn't have the best parenting skills. So I wonder, where the hell do all these homeless people come from? Like, they must procreate and they must be able to meet somewhere, right? And how do they meet? Like, when you're interested in a girl, you say, hey, baby, why don't you come over for a cup of coffee? What does a homeless guy living under a bridge say? Why didn't you come under for a cup of coffee? I can imagine the conversation kind of going like this. Here, let me take your coat. Oh, that's right, you don't have one. Here, let me find you a chair. Oh, that's right, I don't have any. So what do you want to do? Watch TV? Sorry, we can't do that. I pawned that yesterday. Well, why don't we just wash empties together? Look, I don't know what the homeless people do for kicks. I think we need to deal with this homeless problem at the source. Like, we need to think outside of the cardboard box. We could give them real jobs. And I'm not talking about upskirt photographers like many of you out there think they should do, because they have that kind of view of the world from the bottom up. I'm talking about legitimate jobs like um, shoe salesman. Because can you imagine the number of feet they see per day? I mean, how do homeless people pick up women? Like, what kind of lines do they use? Do they say, like, hey, baby, you're so fresh. I've been recycling you in my mind all day. Or, what's a beautiful babe like you doing in a dumpster like this? Or, let's blow this popsicle stand and go back to my cardboard. Now, the other thing we should do is we should charge them property taxes. Like, we need to charge them $50 for a tent and $25 for a piece of cardboard. Now, I'm not completely heartless, right? I would use that money for some good. I mean, I'd buy them better cardboard and bigger tents. In fact, I'd buy them a 5-man tent. That way, 4 of them could get rid of their little pup tents, and then we could reduce the size of our tent city. I guess you're asking me, should we find another way to charge them? I'm going, yes, we should. We should give them speeding tickets. Because if they get too crazy and they feel the need for speed in that grocery cart and they're driving it unsafe, they should be fined. They could be fined for distracted driving. Like, suppose they're eating a half-eating sandwich and trying to maneuver their grocery cart. That's distracted driving. And I guess you might ask, I mean, we need to start looking at these Costco parking lots too, because I know there's some Asians drifting those grocery carts in that parking lot, and they are not cheap wheels. These are stainless steel wheels. So how did I become such a homeless expert? Well, I used to date a homeless girl. Yeah, she met me when I was eating ramen. She thought I was poor, but I was just going to college. Now, we used to have pretty good times. I didn't mind all the little changes. I could make room for her in the garage for her grocery cart. And she was the only woman who didn't nag me to take out the garbage. We usually ate most of it. But I knew things weren't going to entirely work out because she didn't believe in interracial couples. See, she was from the downtown east side, and I was from the upper west side. And we're not supposed to mix. Now, these little changes started becoming big changes. Like, I kind of got upset when she took the bed sheets off of my bed and made a tent in the living room. She created her own tent city. She wanted a home within a home. And I didn't like the fact that she started criticizing me. She criticized me about the way I started washing my empties. And she was mad at me because I flirted a little bit with the recycling girl. You know, I'm a man. I'm a homeless man, but I'm still a man. And I said something about how I didn't find her holy grass-stained overalls as sexy as when I first saw them on her. So pretty soon, the fights became daily, and we ended up separating. Now it was only time to divide the assets, but that was easy because she got 0% and I got 0% because, hey, we're homeless. We don't own shit. Well, I guess I shouldn't be making fun of the homeless people. I'm only one step away from that financially. The other day I went to my ATM and I punched in the information and a big fuck you came up, like a big finger. Now I'm going, this isn't right. You know, something's wrong here. So then I decided to go see a teller in person. She punches up the information and she starts giggling. And pretty soon she's giggling uncontrollably. I'm thinking, what the hell? And then, you know, it would have been so bad, but then she calls over her friends and now the whole bank is having a good laugh. My first thought was, I need to change banks. So I went home And as I was sitting on the kitchen table, I noticed these ants were gathering at my back door. And I said, "Hey, man, where are you going?" And they said, "We're leaving. There's nothing to eat around here." Now you realize you're in pretty bad shape when you're not even dropping crumbs for the ants. I mean, that's poverty, right? Even though I promised them I was getting my check and that pretty soon they'd have a full belly, they told me to fuck off and they just left. Well, that's the end of my show. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Fuck you all.